Welcome to More Than Renovating, a Renovate and real estate podcast. Our founder, Belinda Smith, talks to industry experts to provide you with the knowledge and information you need to make renovating for love and profit your reality. Belinda will also chat to some of her Renovation Mastery members who are just everyday people doing extraordinary things, following their passions in the renovation and property space. So, let's jump straight into the episode. Enjoy.
Belinda Smith from Renovate and Real Estate, and I have a special guest with me today on this podcast. Our podcast is More Than Renovating because all of us know that renovating is a lot more about, I think, the human experience, or certainly as much about the human experience as it is about the property. And today we're going to get to know our beautiful student Jenny a lot better or more closely. Jenny Beckwith has just finished a renovation up near Gympie. Beautiful, beautiful job. I had the pleasure of walking through her property when it was finished, and I was so proud of the work that you did, Jenny, and the standard of finish that you applied to that property. So welcome to this podcast episode.
Thank you, Belinda. It's lovely to be here.
So where did it all start for you? Like, how did you end up renovating?
Well, I'm actually a former art teacher, and I was in education for about 25 years, 20 years as an art teacher and 5 years as a deputy principal. And I think it probably started for me maybe about 12 or 15 years ago when I was planning to sell my house in Victoria. And it was like a tragic 90s kind of style. So I started by ripping up the carpet and sanding the floors and painting out the peach-coloured walls and just totally redecorating it in more of a modern style. And I think that really ignited a spark in me as to what you can do in that transformation of a space.
So for you, it's the creativity as much as it is actually about the property and the profit and all that.
Oh, absolutely. The whole creative process is just amazing for me. I love the initial thinking about the vision and what it can be, and then working through all the different, planning and, what can we do, the design and the style and all of that. So, yeah, it's a real process and I love that whole aspect of it.
Tell me a little bit about your first renovation, like some of the properties that you've done over that time.
Okay, well, we've done a few. Initially, they were houses that we were living in, but I think the one that resonates the most with me was a property that we did in Cape Tribulation in far north Queensland. I don't know if you know that area at all, but we went up there and we had a look at a property that was a shed house, and it was very, very in need of attention, you could say. And we went there initially for 6 months, and we went and we did some really major work on it and cleaned the whole outside, which was covered in mold, and the whole interior, which was just really, really bad with the mold, and the ceilings were warping and everything. We ended up staying for 12 months and we did a fantastic renovation on that, and the place was just amazing after we'd finished it. And that really inspired me to be able to move forward and do different properties and see the vision from something that was really grungy and really awful, and the transformation that could take place. So we've done a few since then. They've mostly been the properties that we've lived in, that we've taken from something fairly basic or in need of attention and tried to enhance them in simple ways. But I think that that's made a difference to the overall appearance and appeal to the prospective buyers.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you were doing that property, who did the work, you and your partner? And what?
My husband, yeah.
Okay, do you have certain skills, or what do you both contribute to a project?
Well, during our recent project that we've just completed and sold, I've gained a new appreciation of all that he can actually do. He can put his hand to anything and pretty much do anything, and that's a real blessing and a real attribute to have. Although I have to say sometimes, it's more of a negative approach than I would appreciate. Oh no, what are we going to do with this? And how are we going to fix this? Oh, this is disastrous. whereas I'm more of a positive person, and I say, oh, okay, that's a bit of a pain, but what's the solution? How can we fix it?
Yeah.
But he is very capable, and he has done an amazing amount of work in all the projects that we've worked on, and that's been fantastic to have that in your back pocket, someone that can do those kinds of things to help out, the little things sometimes, but also some bigger things that I don't think I can tackle, because like I've got a threshold that I can work with and things that I'm happy with doing, but then he's able to take on those more important and bigger projects too.
Are you used to working together? Like, do you just kind of get into a bit of a rhythm together, or do you do you write a list for him? How does it?
I have a list, yes. I usually say, okay, this is what I'd like to achieve today, and whether we achieve it or not is another thing. But yeah, he is pretty happy to go through the list and do different things, maybe not to the speed that I would like.
Right.
He's probably a little bit slower than I would like, but he's very, very much a perfectionist.
Oh, okay.
And he likes to do it exactly right.
That's a fantastic attribute, but can also be a bit of a punish.
Yeah, I think go.
Yeah.
Get it done. Yeah.
So my hubby's the opposite. He's, what do I call him? The 90% man. He'll always say, he'll do things, and he's very, very efficient. And he'll say, that's done. And I'll say, kind of can push.
No, I've got the opposite.
Yeah.
Opposite of that.
Yeah. So the beauty of that, though, is as couples, and a lot of people do this on their own, which is great, but I work obviously with my husband, Brett. As couples, you kind of I think you get into a bit of a flow. You understand when you've done a few renovations together, you understand how each other is going to approach a project or a certain task, and you can cover for each other. Look, I always say, for Brett and I, he does a lot of the heavy lifting. He does a lot of the stuff that requires the great big tools, the drop saws and all that kind of stuff. I'll do the more intricate work and definitely the painting and color combinations, because he can't match his shorts and his T-shirt. So if he stands there every day and says, do I match, when he comes out and he's dressed of a morning, I think, I love you, but you're never, ever going to go out there and pick my tiles. So I think we just get into he'll laugh when he hears this. We do get into our flow.
Yeah, there's definite things that I love him to do, like drilling into tiles is a no-go for me.
Yeah.
So he's happy to do that, and he's done it, plenty of times. So, he'll just get in there and do it. No second guessing or anything like that, whereas I would be panicking about, is this the right spot, or am I going to crack the tile? But he just gets right in, and yeah, that's good.
Excellent. So you've done quite a few properties. So you did that first property, and then you did others, mainly properties that you lived in. At what point were you excited enough about renovating to consider flipping a property?
I think that was a bit of a slow progression for me. It was something that was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to do. I really wanted to do it, but actually getting my husband over the line to actually step out and have faith and move forward with it, just to take the plunge, that was the biggest hurdle, to try and get him on board to do an investment property, not our own property. That was a totally different ballgame for him. Once we worked through the fee zone and the comparables and everything like that, the decision was much easier. We could see, all right, well, we can see that this property is X amount, and if we put this much into it, then we should achieve this amount. And just going through the proper process of what it's going to cost versus what you're going to spend, and then what you should achieve, it was difficult for him to see in the first instance. But yeah, getting through that was the challenge.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think once people make the plunge and buy a property, then they're in it. So once people get those feasibility studies done, they really look at the numbers, and that gives them enough confidence that this property is going to be okay. It might not be the best, it might not be the worst, but I think it helps people who are worried about taking any risks. And even though there's no perfect guarantee of an outcome, unless you're in it, unless you're trying, unless you're learning on the fly, then you're left wondering. So I'm so pleased that you actually did that. How long did that latest project take? It took you longer than you expected.
It was a lot longer than I expected. And there were a lot of issues like personal issues. I was working and I was also being a nana and looking after my grandchildren for a couple of days a week. And my husband was working. So in the end, we really had about 2 or 3 days a week to actually work on the property. So that held us up a lot longer than we anticipated. He had a little bit of a phobia about letting in trades to come and do work that he said I can do. So why would I pay somebody else to do it? So that held us up a lot. And that's still a little bit of a contentious issue moving forward, you know, whether he's going to allow trades to come in to actually do stuff and handball it and, you know, just let things happen instead of stalling. So in the end, it actually took us about 12 months, almost to the day, actually, from the day that we actually settled on the property to the day that we settled on sale. It was like -1 day.
Yeah.
So it took us 12 months to actually, you know, buy and then sell.
So that is a long time when you're talking about flipping a property. But under circumstances, I can see how 1 week rolls into 3 weeks, and then at the same time, let's not forget the environment in which you were renovating, and that is that tradies weren't as available as they were a few years ago. Product wasn't at your fingertips like it was a few years ago. So there's a few things coming into play as well. You bring up a really interesting point. A lot of, well, I'll call it, I'll say partners. I was going to say men, but let's just say partners. A lot of partners who are really capable of doing things feel like they need to continue to do all of those things. It's really, I think that if people do lots of renovating, then they get they get tired of doing those things, and so they're not so insistent. Does that make sense? Because
it absolutely does. Like I'd be waking up in the morning and saying, come on, let's go, you know, let's go to the house and do stuff. And he'd be saying, oh, do I have to?
Right.
So he was over it because it was taking so long and it was chewing into a lot of his own personal time as well. Yeah. But I was still inspired and I was really excited to move forward and see the next, you know, thing completed. He didn't quite have the same passion as me, and that again is another hurdle that we need to get through to try and be aligned in that area.
Oh, this is such a nice discussion, and I know that people will really relate to the conversation that we're having, because it is very, very common for people, even us, right? Brett and I, we are fabulous painters. Like we do a really, really good job, but we just don't do it anymore because I know that it takes a lot of energy and we're just better off paying people to do that. So it is making choices like that, but I think sometimes those choices become easier when you've become exhausted from having a go yourself for so long that you think, now I'm ready to handball it over.
Yeah, I think as we continue and move forward, I think that that's going to become a bit more of the situation.
Yeah, remind him about.
Yeah, remember how you had to do all of that, and you don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, because then you move through projects faster, and even though it costs a couple of extra $1,000 here and there to get people to do things, there's less holding costs because you're not holding properties for as long, and so I think one balances out the other.
Well, if I can just interject and say, if we had have completed the project, say within 6 months, we probably would have achieved maybe a $30,000 or $40,000 difference in our sale price.
Right, as in more?
As in more.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Because the market changed over that whole 12-month period, and that's on us. And, you know, it's a learning curve, and, you know, you just cop it and move forward and learn from what you've done and resolve to do better. Yeah. But, you know, from all accounts, it looked like we could have achieved a lot more than we actually did because of the time that we took. So, you know, if something to, you know, be communicated is that, you know, speed is of the essence, I think.
Momentum and speed. And I always talk about renovating being strategy, not energy. And I think when people commit to doing everything DIY, they run out of energy.
Yep, absolutely. And I can tell you, I mean, they say, you know, if you're doing a job that you love, you'll never work a day in your life. But I can tell you, I worked some days. I really worked. And I knew I'd worked.
I know,
And,
but you did
yeah.
beautiful work. Like the
Yeah,
quality.
but it was good. It
Yeah.
was good work because you could see the difference and you could see the transformation that you were making and the progress you were making. So it was encouraging and exciting and rewarding as
Yeah.
well. But yeah, as I say, we just need next time to move a little bit quicker.
That's awesome. Look, in the end, you made money. You had lots of
Mm-hmm.
experience. And did you find trade team around you? Did you start to build your team?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we hooked into quite a few local tradespeople that we hopefully will be able to call on again if I ever find a property, because at the moment it's pretty slim pickings. So, I'm chafing at the bit a little bit to try and find a property to move on, but there's really not a lot around at the moment. So, yeah, I've got them in my back pocket and, they're good to go. And, we've talked about next time and, being available for that. So I'm excited for that too.
Yeah, there's low stock everywhere at the moment that you'll find. You're keen, you'll find.
Yeah, keep looking.
Yeah. So what do you think renovation's given to you? Like, what is it?
Well, I'm typically a positive person and I really like to see, the solution. I'm very solution based in what I do. So when I walk into or I look at a property online, I think I can see the vision like in my mind as to what I can do and what it could be. And rather than thinking, that's not doable or that's going to be expensive, I like to look for the positive in it and how we can work around contingencies and problems and stuff and create a new solution. So I think that's something that I've really been building. But I also think that I used to really second guess myself a lot in making decisions. And I think that doing this project and working with Kelly in particular and the Rare team and all of that wisdom and knowledge that's there, that you can hook into, helps you to not second guess yourself and go with your gut and, back yourself and have some confidence in what you're doing.
Yeah, and know that if you've got something in your mind and you actually to trust your judgment and put it together, do you worry about what other people think of your project or how they'll judge you when you're putting it together?
That's a really good question. I think I do.
I think everyone does.
Yeah, I think I do, because you want to present yourself in the best possible way and you want to create a space that people are going to love. And you want them to walk in and say, oh, this is perfect. This is going to suit me. This is amazing.
Yeah.
You want them to do that and you want them to feel the kind of atmosphere or aesthetic that you've tried to create in the place when they come in. And that's a big thing for me, aesthetics, trying to create a space that feels warm and welcoming and inviting. So I really do hook into all of that. But yeah, I do worry about what they think. And I think actually, if I can be completely honest, some of the feedback that we had received from our property, and I don't know whether it was just people being picky or overly critical, but some of the things they said were kind of minor, oh, there's no new fences, or it hasn't got this, or I needed that, or this part I don't like, and everything. And you kind of think, oh, and you start to get a little bit down about it.
Yeah.
But in the end, I think I was able to step back and say, I think we did a good job. I think we did a really good job with what we had, and, I'm pretty pleased with the end result.
I think that what you experienced was a real estate agent getting feedback to present you with, to bring you down a little bit, or bring you down. Yeah, it's called. So
in hindsight, I think you're absolutely right. And again, that's a lesson learned. And moving forward, I will be a lot more proactive in that space, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, real estate agents will do whatever they can to bring buyers and sellers together. And sometimes as a seller, it can be emotionally tiring. It's a roller coaster ride, and it's really hard not to take what people are saying to heart. But the truth is, they're trying to bring you down. They're trying at the same time to bring buyers up so that you guys meet in the middle and they can get a deal done. So it's just part of what happens.
Absolutely. Yeah, the whole process was very much like what you say, a roller coaster.
Yeah.
So I'm learning from that and, building my skills in negotiation with them and understanding a little bit more about how they operate and just try and improve next time.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is too, what we do forget is that we do property every now and then, and you guys and part of my community sell and buy more property than most. A lot of people only sell and buy once every, 8 years or whatever. Real estate agents are doing this all day, every day, and this is their job and this is what they're good at. So it makes it difficult sometimes when you're a renovator and your purpose is to flip a property, just to keep in mind that we're doing this seldomly and they're doing it all the time, and you just along for the process. It's part of all of the process. It's such a good experience that you've had, though. Are you glad that you've done it?
Oh, absolutely. I'm like chafing at the bit to try and find my next one. Can't wait, but just as I say, there's not a lot around at the moment, so I just have to keep looking. But I'm really excited to, get stuck in again.
And during the process or during the coaching that you had with Kelly, you've become firm friends with another local lady. Tell us about your new venture together.
Yeah, well, we have become really good friends and allies in a way. We both love the same kind of things and the whole renovation space and decorating, styling and staging and all of that. So we've resolved to try and build a business that works around that kind of area. We're in the process of putting a goal together and a plan, and unfortunately she's been a little bit sick at the moment, so that's been on hold for a couple of weeks, but hopefully in the next few days we'll be able to nut out a few things and get the ball rolling. So we're hoping to provide for this area we're in at the moment a service that is sadly lacking. I think the area that we're in, if I can say, is it Gympie? Can I say that? Gympie in Queensland. Previously was quite a low socioeconomic area, but in recent times, I think since COVID, a lot of people have been coming up here and the demographic has really changed and the expectations of people have really changed. So I think the market is really, really ripe for a service that we can offer and that we're excited to implement in this area. So, the ball is rolling.
So you ladies will assist people with presenting their properties for market. So that's the styling component. Are you going to help them finish off renovating or give them any suggestions? Like, will you take it further than that, or will you just...
I think initially what our plan is to help with styling and organisation and staging. So whether it's styling for an organisation just for general living to enhance the livability that they're currently in, or staging for sale, there's those couple of options. So I think that's the way that we're going at the moment.
I'm excited for you. I know Rachel is the other lady. I'll mention her. You both are really, really talented renovators and you present your homes just beautifully for sale. It is a gift. You've got the goods. And so if anybody's around the Gympie location, certainly get in touch with me and I can put you in touch with the ladies if you need some help. If you're talking about, renovating your property, or definitely if you're talking about putting it to market, because you girls know exactly what you're doing. And not only can you present a beautiful home, but you understand the numbers. So, when people go out there and they get advice off a high-end interior designer or someone who has all of their own ideas of what to do with a property and are not thinking about the purpose. And the purpose may be, or should always be, I think, to keep the renovation spend down, but actually do a really beautiful property so that to increase those profit margins.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a lot of people get the numbers like you ladies do. So I'm so pleased that you met through the community, doing that together, and that you're still keen to renovate, even though that last renovation you did took a while. I know that there are people who are listening to this who will really resonate with your story.
Yeah. Well, I just want to encourage people, just to get out there and have a go. Yeah.
And tell me about setting a path for your kids and what they're doing with property.
Well, I think one of my children, my eldest daughter, is very much in the renovation and styling space as well. So hopefully she's going to come on board with Rachel and I and help out in that way.
Yeah,
she's an art teacher as well, so she's really got her head around it.
Yeah.
And lots of ideas, maybe more than she can contain. But yeah, she goes at 100 miles an hour. So, she's got lots of great ideas and lots of inspiration and motivation. So yeah, hopefully she'll come on board with Rachel and I in the near future as well, once we get things happening. Yeah, my other daughter is probably not quite so interested in that. She's a sports teacher.
Yeah.
So she's more of an outdoorsy kind. And
yeah. I just find with my kids, just the fact that Brad and I will have a go at something just means that I've seen in their lives the fact that they're a bit willing to have a go, to take it a little bit further than the average Joe. And they're certainly not lost hopelessness like a lot of the youngies are.
No, something that I always tried to communicate to my kids, and in fact also my students when I was teaching, was the analogy of the surfer. Yeah. You've got a surfer sitting on the beach, he's got his surfboard there and he's all good to go, and he's just watching the waves come in. Oh, the next one will be better. I'll just wait for a minute. I'm sure the next one will be better. Just wait. Oh, that was good, but I think the next one might be even better than that. So I'm just going to wait for a little while. It's just sitting there. And before you know it, time's gone by and he's not caught a wave at all. So I've always tried to encourage my kids to get out there and have a go now. Get right into it. Don't wait for the right wave. Now is the right wave.
Yeah.
Just jump in.
I love that analogy because, there might never be a perfect wave.
Never. There will never be a perfect wave.
Yeah. Unless you jump on and start to have a go, you're never going to improve anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Perfect waves. Yeah, I love that. I'm going to use that. I'm
Good.
going to steal that from you, Jen.
Yeah, use it.
No, that's beautiful. So what are your goals, do you think, for this year?
Oh, this year. Wow, we're already halfway through. Yeah. Can't believe it.
Okay, so 12 months.
Time's gone so fast.
12 months.
Well, as I said, I'm chafing at the bit to try and find another property to get stuck into. So looking. I think I'd also really like to investigate a JV deal as well and see, what that looks like and whether that could work. I'm pretty keen for that kind of thing, and also just, to get this operation with Rachel up and going as well. So I think they're my three main things that I want to tackle for the remainder of the year.
All centered around property and renovation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Woohoo.
Yeah, that's the passion.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Jenny.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for asking me.
Oh, no, you're so welcome. And guys, like I said, if you wanted to work with Jenny or with Rachel, then just reach out to me at Renovate and Real Estate and I will definitely put you guys in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.